This is Dr. George Jacinto. First, I want to state that I have no association with the makers of the apps I will share in this video. The video will highlight 6 smartphone apps. There are many apps available, and these are some that I have found helpful in my practice and in preparation for a suicide assessment intervention and follow-up continuing education workshop. The first 4 apps will look at safety planning as one of the major themes of what they offer. The first 4 apps focus on safety planning and other helpful strategies for those thinking of self-harm. These apps may be helpful for other clients you may see in your practice. The apps offer a range of components. None of the apps contain all the components of a safety plan that I have found in the evidence-based research. However, some contain most of the 10 components. We will discuss the 10 components of a smartphone app safety plan. It is important to note that if you use an app with clients, it is necessary for you to work with the client in developing the safety plan and whatever other elements you might want them to use as part of homework assignments. The apps are helpful as an adjunct to counseling or therapeutic work when you are working with clients and are more appropriate for homework that the client would do and then share about each week as they come in to visit with you. The 2 apps that focus on mindfulness or present moment awareness are the Mindfulness Coach and Breathe to Relax apps. For several clients, I use this train of thought image that places various consciousness states in relationship to the here and now locus of mindfulness. When one is aware of past or future stressful thoughts or feelings, he or she is encouraged to consciously stop, breathe, calm, and focus on the present moment. I will be adding a new video on my YouTube channel that goes into greater detail about the train of thought metaphor and offers some handouts that may be helpful with your clients. I have used YouTube videos in this presentation that more clearly describe the various apps that are presented. Now we will begin with a discussion of the safety plan. For many clients, there are several good apps on the market. No one app appears to include all the components of a safety plan discussed in the evidence-based literature. There are at least 10 components of a safety plan from reading the literature. We will share 6 apps in this discussion that are excellent and available free. When becoming aware that one is stressed, either by being lost in memories of the past or the future with anticipation, it is helpful to stop, breathe, and engage in a present moment or here and now exercise. The last 2 apps that I will share with you in this presentation have to do with mindfulness. The Breathe to Relax app helps one become anchored in the present, focused on breathing and relaxing, and the Mindfulness Coach app offers a range of other possibilities in addition to meditations that one can benefit from learning as part of the app's offerings. Once one has stopped thoughts, focused on breathing, and is concentrating on the present moment, one would then shift to the other apps that assist in developing a safety plan for people who are thinking of self-harm or who are overly stressed. The virtual Hope Box includes 8 of the 10 components on this list of a safety plan, offering several helpful resources that people can generate, producing a distraction from stressful thoughts. This discussion will begin with examining this table that includes the 10 components of a safety plan and which components selected apps are including in their offering. Next, 4 apps will be presented that offer elements of the safety plan and associated resources. Finally, the Breathe to Relax and Mindfulness Coach apps will be discussed and demonstrated. These apps address safety plans for people who are suicidal. However, safety plans can be helpful for a range of clients with different mental health diagnoses. Now we will overview the safety plan components. There are 10 here, so I just want to point them out from the literature. Warning signs, call someone, coping or self-help strategies, distractions, social support or social network connections, keep safe plan, reason to live, mindfulness, relaxation activities, a hope box or life box that includes pictures and possibly videos and music, and then inspirational words or phrases. So the apps that we're looking at here all include several of these 10 components. However, no one app includes all of them. The one that comes nearest is the virtual hope box that includes 8 of the specific apps. So we will now move to begin to look at the case My 3, which is includes 7 items on the list we just looked at. There will be a 6.40 minute YouTube video that explains this one. Under the safety plan, it'll be about a 2-minute video. Interestingly, safety plan contains 7 of the 10 components, and Stay Alive video roughly with 6 of the components. That the apps will be offered in succession. There will be 3 videos back to back with each of the apps, and I will return shortly at the end of the box.
Mandy Margaret Page. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be reviewing an app / giving you guys kind of a tutorial. So obviously this is not a sponsored video, but if you watched the suicide prevention stream that I did on the Mandy Margaret Facebook page, then you might have heard me mention this app called My3. If you look here, this gives you a little bit of an explanation, tells you some of the organizations associated with it. Basically today I'm going to bring you through my app and tell you how I use it, and then give you a quick pro and con of why I love this app and what I think could be improved in the future. So the first thing you see when you go to the home page is that you can add 3 contacts. Usually this would actually be full for me, but I did delete the contacts so that I can show you guys how to add one easily, and because the phone numbers come up when you click on them. So say that I wanted to add Aaron. This is directly from my contact list in my phone. So Aaron's phone number 1-234-567-8910. As easy as that number may be, if you have somebody else you're trying to contact when you're struggling, might not be so easy to remember their number, so you would add it, and then if you look at the top, you'll see that Aaron is now under the blue circle. You could do that 2 more times if you'd like to add them. What I also really like about this is that right away you can click the green button and you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and it has a call 911 button. One of the questions you might have as to why both of these are here, in an emergency situation where you might need medical attention, you would immediately click the call 911 button. Just to clarify the difference. So now we're going to go into my safety plan. This is actually my personal safety plan. So you can see that they have the 6 different steps all in here that you customize. I'm going to go up here and we're actually going to edit them. A safety plan is something that you can use when you're struggling or when you're having thoughts of suicide. So we're going to start with our warning signs. For me, these are some big warning signs for me. If I start to notice that I'm feeling like a burden or I'm isolating myself from my friends, if my confidence takes a hit or I have a really low body image, that would be sleep trouble for me. Then you can click next, and you can see they actually give you a breakdown of what exactly the warning signs are, which is nice. I will say one of the things I think would make this app a little easier to use, or that would help somebody who's never worked with a therapist or called the crisis line itself to create a safety plan, is having specific examples, maybe even having some quick add options that are the most common or that are recommended. I'm not sure if you go somewhere else in the app if they actually have that, but I have never personally seen it. All right, so moving right along, we're going to go into coping strategies. Something that I really love about the coping strategies is that they do note, make sure that these are activities that you will really do if you're in crisis. So for mine, I tried to make sure that I had things that would be accessible to me almost anywhere, because you never really know when crisis is going to hit. So walking the dog is probably the one that is not always accessible. I'm not always with my dog, but I am able to meditate almost anywhere, and I am able to write from almost anywhere because I always have a phone or a voice recorder that I can work on with that. So those would be great coping strategies for me. These could look entirely different for you. The next thing we're going to is distractions, and you can kind of see that mine, rather when it said place, I didn't take that to mean a super specific address or anything like that. I kept it pretty broad, so hiking in nature, any park that I can get into at that time, an escape room game, it doesn't really matter where it is, whether that be a board game that we bring home or whatever it might be, that is a super helpful way for me to keep my mind occupied by something else. Coffee shop, I kept pretty broad, but just a really nice tranquil environment where I can be out of my house, and then an option for if I don't feel comfortable going out of my house where I can invite somebody over and cook for them, because that's a hobby that I really love, and again will have that same distracting quality. The network page is going directly from that homepage that we saw before where you input contacts from your personal contact list. So there's not much to say there. The next thing we're talking about is keeping ourselves safe, which is limiting access to means. So if you look at this, it's saying listing things that you can do to remove harmful objects or substances from your surroundings. For me, you can see the first one is actually to remove myself from my surroundings and be with somebody else. So if I'm having a really tough emotional time, I know that it's not safe to drive. I might not be able to have a great reaction time, or whatever the case may be. If I'm crying, I might not have as good vision. So I will always call a friend if they can come and pick me up. The next thing you'll see might not seem like removing a harmful object, but for me, not reading and responding to toxic people is really important. Those kind of interactions create a much less healthy brain space for me, which means that it creates a less safe environment. Number 3 would usually be full for me, and after this video, I will actually be refilling it, but safe sharing guidelines do recommend that we don't share specific means, so that's why you're not seeing it. This is something that it usually would say for me, like I mentioned. And finally, this is one of my favorite parts of the safety plan, is finding a reason to live. And the sentence they prompt you with is, the one thing that is most important to me and worth living for is, and for me, that's sharing love and support with others. So then you have the option to email the safety plan, and if you didn't know what it was, you can learn more. There are other options in here. I'm not going to go into the how to use, the about, terms of use, anything like that, but what I am going to go into is this resources button. Part of the reason that I love that they included a resource tab is because the safety plan that we just made is something that's really intended to be used when you're having thoughts of suicide, when you're having thoughts of harming yourself, and you're in a position where you need a step-by-step guide to keep you safe. That's the idea of the safety plan. But when we go to the resource tab, if you look at some of this information, yes, there's information for crisis situations, but more importantly, there's information for preventative health. So I'm just going to go into one category. You can see they get very specific for different groups, veterans, LGBTQ, local suicide prevention activities, etc. But we're going to go into the for mental health care button. And even just looking at the first one, therapist finder. So long-term help, preventative health, things like that are so important. And when we talk about safety planning, it's important that we have a plan to keep us safe in crisis situations, but it's also important that we have support on our more high-functioning days and that we have continual support for our mental health outside of those crisis situations. So I love this. I also love that if you're somebody who is in a specific group, you can find more resources for yourself. Sometimes finding support is a lot easier if you can associate with another group because you don't feel as alone.
I'm grateful for Mandy Margaret's enthusiasm. Now we will move to viewing the safety plan video.
When someone is thinking about suicide, often it's not so much they actually want to die, but that they can't cope with the pain of living anymore. And within their distress is a part of them, sometimes only a small part, that still wants to live if only life wasn't so hard. To put the part of you that wants to live in charge, it's helpful to come up with a plan for how you'll get through these tough moments. This is called a safety plan. It's important to create your safety plan before you're in the middle of a crisis. You'll have a clearer perspective on your reasons for living, and you're in a better position to think of effective ways to keep yourself safe rather than trying to plan when you're in the middle of a crisis and you're overwhelmed with emotions. A good safety plan will involve other people you trust. This might be a health professional, a family member, or a close friend. Reaching out to someone and letting them know about your plan might seem daunting, but their support can really help. Together, you can identify any warning signs that you might be struggling to cope, such as problems sleeping or drinking too much. Often, other people can see these changes in us before we realise ourselves.
App is produced in the United Kingdom. It has some strong features such as the safety planning section. However, the resources for emergency phones and contacts are in England. The front page of the app looks like what's on the left here, and I will expand one of the areas here in a second. We will now explore the front page. First, it provides a Stay Alive section which contains safety plans, etc. We will explore this chapter in more detail after we finish reviewing the items of this entry page. Second, we find the Help Now section that only lists UK resources, although there is a file to add personal resources as well. Next, the Worried About Someone resources include a list of potential warnings for both a person who may be considering suicide or someone who knows someone, practical steps to help, a useful list of practical steps you can take, then things to avoid, particularly when helping someone, just to the things to kind of notice that they suggest would be helpful not to include, and then supporter resources, which are also a number of ideas to help someone who's thinking of self-harm, and then the need to go to a public space or how to get out of a public space if you have become overly stressed in that part of the environment. The next area would be a list of myths about suicide, which is a good educational part of this tool, and then about Stay Alive, which includes how to use the app, how to share the app, and a number of other associated topics. Now, the Stay Alive section we're going to look at here on the next slide. And first, we're looking at thinking about suicide. There's another educational piece here where there are 5 helpful suggestions on what one might do to seek help. And then the development of the safety plan, which is an important part of any of these apps that offer them. In this case, the safety plan would include a, um, a list of people one might contact if they're feeling suicidal. Also, where they may seek help. Again, generally, they're probably similar, a list of people. And then, how will I calm myself? And this would be trying to relax, trying to focus on breathing. That would be one of the things that I might do. And then where is the safe place one might go to? In this case, for me, it would be home. And then other ideas for staying safe. So this safety plan is a very important element of this. And then also one's contact list. So you would have the names to call in an emergency and their phone numbers. The next area would be reasons for living, which is a checklist which you can check off. There's a number of reasons listed, and then you can add your own. A Staying Safer Now section where it discusses safe choices one might make. The self-help ideas section is 2 parts. First are grounding techniques that help locate the person in the present time, focusing on the here and now, and also self-care ideas that one might use to have a more sense of wellness or well-being. And then breathing exercises. There's one that they have which is a timer where it cues you to breathe in and breathe out. The counseling section lists UK services, so that isn't as beneficial to people in the United States. And then also the Life Box, which is a wonderful area where you can locate photographs of yourself or others. In this case, I use it as an example and put some of my favorite images in this particular Life Box, which is very calming to look at for me, and hopefully what you would put there would also be calming. And then this wellness plan I like. Again, it has a number of things you would check, and then it would list them for you. So in my experience, these are the things that support my wellness and work for me. For instance, music, friends, walking your dog, good book, a walk, and then what inspires me or reminds me of my values, the person. So in this case, I clicked Audrey Hepburn, which is one of the people on the list. And the third area here would be things I would like to try to see if they would support my wellness. So, breathing exercises, um, drinking water, exercise, sleep, a nature walk, those kinds of areas of interest. And so that would be another important, I think, aspect of this particular system. And then, while the resources on this app are in England, it offers a safety plan, which I think is very helpful, and the life box, as well as the contact list. Wellness strategies also can help in plan one's future, and certainly the days around this event that has made them think to harm themselves. These are helpful in prevention suicide, and the educational materials contained in here are also of benefit. The Virtual Hope Box is my favorite app in that it is a treasure trove of resources. It provides distractions to keep one's focus on the present moment. There are exercises under the Relax Me section that assist in reduction of stress. In the Inspire Me section, there are uplifting quotations. The coping cards are a great resource. I remember in the old days, we may have had clients use 3x5 cards with coping suggestions written on them. Now it is on the smartphone. This is the front of the Hope Box. What I like about the Virtual Hope Box is the Hope Box itself, which is here. The Remind Me screen in the Virtual Hope Box is the Hope Box itself, where you can put images like these pictures that I have here that I find inspirational, pictures of yourself, pictures of your friends, or here is the add feature for media type to go into your Hope Box: videos, photographs, music, and recorded messages. So that's a feature of the Hope Box I think that's really important in terms of a support. Also, there's a phone emergency hotlines here. The 911 if you have something immediately. There's the Veterans Crisis Line. This is a veterans app. However, there are contacts you can also add up here. What it will do when you hit it is it will go to your contacts on your phone. An additional feature I like on this app comes under the Relax Me, the lower left blue. A couple of examples here of controlled breathing, for instance.
Breathe in deeply using your diaphragm.
It also has a muscle relaxation exercise, which I think is helpful.
Please note that if you have injuries such as back pain or a knee injury, you should avoid tensing muscles that might affect that injury. To begin, close your eyes and take a deep breath into your belly. Then exhale with a sigh. Again, take a deep breath and
There's guided meditation exercises on this as well. So that's part of the Hope Box that you won't see in the video that follows that I think is a very important aspect of it, so I wanted to share that with you as we next view the video that explains other features of the Virtual Hope Box. The brief video that follows provides a clear walkthrough of the app's great features. The Hope Box is a brilliant component of this app.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Smith. I'm a nurse practitioner student at Southeastern Louisiana University, and today I want to teach you about the Virtual Hope Box. It's an application that helps you deal with stress management and learn coping skills. Virtual Hope Box can be downloaded on Android or Apple devices. So on the Virtual Hope Box screen, you can set yourself reminders. These are pictures about family, friends, pets, activities, things that will help you relax and de-stress. You can also add music and recordings from your library, songs that will also help you relax. You can pick distractions such as puzzles and games, or relaxation exercises such as controlled breathing, visualized muscle relaxation exercises, and several different types of guided meditation. Inspirational quotes are also available, and you can flip through these, and these give you different ideas about how to cope, as well as coping tools. You can fill out personalized coping cards such as stress, anxiety, deep breathing, and edit these with different interventions. If you need immediate help, emergency hotlines are also available, and you can also place support contacts as well. These will get you instant access to additional support.
Having viewed the Virtual Hope Box and the other three apps, we will now turn to the mindfulness apps. First, we will explore the Breathe to Relax app that focused on immediate strategies for relaxation and stress reduction. When becoming aware that one is stressed, an individual can stop thought and then refocus on breathing and relaxation strategies. Now we will view a review of this app and its features.
Breathe to Relax is a portable stress management tool which utilizes the highly successful diaphragmatic breathing technique to reduce your stress response and help stabilize your mood. With Breathe to Relax, you can watch tutorials to learn proper techniques for diaphragmatic breathing and learn more about its positive impacts on your body and mind. You can review comprehensive information on the effects of stress and relaxation on your body using tools like the body scanner, or jump right into the breathing exercise where you'll start by recording your stress level. Then you can immediately begin the exercise by using the existing settings, or adjust the breath cycle to settings that are customized for you. Breathe to Relax from the National Center for Telehealth and Technology is a free mobile application available through your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch, and coming soon for your Android device.
The Mindfulness Coach app offers several features that are helpful for many clients. I have used Mindfulness Coach and Virtual Hope Box the most with clients and have been impressed with clients' responses. I have also developed related worksheets to monitor client progress associated with the apps. Now we will focus on the review of this app.
If you would like to learn practices that can help reduce stress and improve your well-being, the Mindfulness Coach app is for you. Mindfulness Coach is a free smartphone app that can help you quickly learn the basics and get started with your own mindfulness practice. Mindfulness means paying attention on purpose to the present moment without judgment. Practicing mindfulness can improve concentration, sleep, anger, stress, and many other symptoms commonly associated with post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. In the mindfulness training section, you'll be gently guided through 14 levels designed to help you learn the basics of mindfulness one step at a time. You'll learn what mindfulness is and how to integrate it into your lifestyle, how mindfulness can help, and many different styles of mindfulness practice. As you learn more about mindfulness in each level of the training plan, you'll put your learning into practice with a short, seated exercise. You'll start with just 1 minute of mindfulness per day and work your way up to 15 minutes per day by the end of the training. You'll also see your progress over time with personal goals that you set for yourself. As you complete each level of training, you'll see your progress grow with a mindfulness tree, from a seedling at level 1 to a fully grown tree at level 14. In the Practice Now section, you can get quick access to the mindfulness exercises that are recommended for you based on your current level of the training plan. You can also easily keep track of your favorite exercises. To see all of the exercises available within the app, tap All. Mindfulness Coach has lots of additional exercises available to download for free, including audio exercises from previous versions of the app. You can practice these exercises on your own time and at your own pace. When you've finished practicing an exercise, you can choose to mark it as a favorite, so it's easy to find later. Then take a moment to log your experience. In Track Progress, you can create your own goals to start integrating mindfulness practice into your daily life. Add goals that you want to track daily, whether it's being more patient with a loved one or simply taking a few moments a day to practice mindfulness. You can also take the Mindfulness Mastery Assessment to see how you're doing with making mindfulness a part of your life, to track your progress over time, and to get personal feedback. With practice logs, you have a place to record your experiences practicing mindfulness, how long you practiced, which exercises you used, and notes about what worked well and what didn't. In the Build Expertise section, you can go deeper into the study of mindfulness with short, informative articles on how to get started with mindfulness practice, how to cultivate mindfulness in your life, and what to do when practicing mindfulness seems challenging. Mindfulness Coach is free, completely private, and easy to use. Download today and learn how practicing mindfulness can lower your stress and boost your well-being.